Hello. Happy Saturday evening. I just got done watching a video on YouTube by a guy named BlackBoxNed, um, an online radio station in West Virginia. Interestingly enough, my mother is from West Virginia, and that's where Frank Morris and the Anglin brothers did the Mothman murder thing. No, not murders. The Mothman of Point Pleasant. And but listening to this guy Ned, he seems to be understanding my my videos and everything, but I think he needs to read my book. I don't believe he's read it yet. Trying to tell him that'll really make everything come together. There's so much in the book that really ties, that really ties the videos together. But a couple of the places where he seems to, first of all, his video is like 27 minutes long, and he's really got most of it right on point. But there's a couple places where I want to correct him a little bit. One is where he says that he admits that the age of Frank Morris would have been correct for doing the Moonlight murders of Texarkana, and the murders were very similar to the ones that he did in San Francisco, the Zodiac murders. The fact that he wore a mask, in both places, a lot of similarities. But then he says, and he seems to hang his hat on this. After they killed, I don't know, a couple of people, or maybe a couple of, maybe more, on Lover's Lane and everything in Texarkana, then they go to this person's house, an older couple, and they shoot the man in his living room through the front door or whatever and kill him. And when the wife comes out, they shoot her in the jaw. Now, I tell you a whole story about this in my book. You have to read the book to get it, though, because it's details that he told me about shooting a woman in the tongue, But then he says that he deviated from his normal activity of killing Lover's Lane type boyfriends and girlfriends to killing a husband and wife couple. Well, now, I've told you many times that Frank will deviate in order to throw off law enforcement, and I'm going to give you a perfect example. And this is also in my book. Remember the San Francisco Zodiac murders? They were all couples. The 14s. 14s. By the way, I'm going to relate that 14 thing for you. He got in trouble the first time in his life when he was 14. He got a 14-year sentence in Alcatraz. His prison number was 1441, and he said that if you turn 41 over, it becomes 14, so it still refers back to him. And the 14s refer to the 14s that he killed up there on the Lover's Lane. Now, there's something else in there about the 14. I'm not sure what it is. But anyway, back to what I was getting at. He killed those 14s, and then I'm not sure where in there they did the Lake Berryessa thing, but it was all young couples and making out and that sort of thing. And thing that really enraged him was love, because he didn't get enough of it. They took it away from him when he was a kid by giving him up to an orphanage as an orphan. And but then after he kills these 14s, then he goes way off over there in the Presidio and kills a lone cab driver. And I tell you in my book that he got all angry and told me I wanted to show him it was not about women. It's never been about women. Well, for him to get angry and everything, and the fact that he's always more brutal with women, tells you that he was lying. And he was lying to himself, schizophrenic as he is. Okay, so he told me that he killed a cab driver in the Presidio to lead a law enforcement in the other direction. And he didn't say he killed a guy. He said, I took that guy down in the Presidio to throw him off. Well, you know, I asked him to throw who off, and he goes, well, anybody that might want to know what it was about. And then he would change the subject and go on. That's why I never really understood what was going on. And I was probably 16 at the time, 17 maybe. So he deviated there exactly like he did in Texarkana for the purpose of throwing off law enforcement. Anything to throw a curveball at him. You got to remember, this guy spent his life in prison with an IQ of 133 in the top 2% of the population. The thing that he did the most was use his brain to memorize all the different cases that, this is what I figure he did. He would talk to people about how they got put in prison, and he would figure out what kind of evidence the law enforcement used to convict these guys, and he knew how to work around that and commit his crimes and not leave the evidence that would get him convicted. Now, that was basically the thing I wanted to tell you, because Ned seems to really think that they just could not have been the same person that did the Zodiac killings and did the Texarkana Moonlight murders. Well, I'm here to tell you it was the same person. And if you look at all my videos about that, those keys they dropped, a flashlight, I don't know what, and there was a girl in there that they killed too that was, she was played a saxophone on stage, and that just enraged Frank really bad. They took her saxophone, they threw it in the bushes. I think that's all in my book too. Not sure if I've done a video on it or not. But that's my, not rebuttal, but just my answer to Ned's online story about my book. I do want to thank him, and I appreciate that the fact that he was very respectful. He didn't come out and call me a liar like a bunch of crazy people do on YouTube. And he obviously, because he spent 27 minutes on this, he obviously spent a lot of time studying it and looking into it. So I'm going to email him probably Monday if we don't get in contact with each other through Messenger somehow, and see if I can't fill in some of the other gaps. There was a couple of other things that he said that didn't, were off a little bit. And it's just because he hasn't been filled in, I can't remember what it was, but maybe I'll do another video on it. It's been a lot of minutes already. We need to call it a night. Good night, folks. Happy Saturday.